An INFJ never leaves suddenly. They leave silently, after months of emotional exhaustion that no one noticed. You won't see it coming because long before they walk away physically, they've already left in spirit. They'll still smile, still listen, still give, but something in their eyes changes. It's not coldness, it's clarity. The moment an INFJ realizes their empathy is being taken for granted, something inside them shuts off, not out of hate, but out of self-preservation. When an INFJ is emotionally done, you won't hear a confrontation. You'll feel a withdrawal. Quiet, gradual, irreversible. The same person who once tried endlessly to understand you will now study you from a distance, collecting truth instead of giving excuses. And by the time you realize how far they've drifted, they've already made peace with letting go. This video will uncover the subtle, psychological signs that an INFJ is emotionally finished, from their sudden calm to their silent boundaries, and why once they leave, they never return the same. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Brainy 1, a space where we decode the psychology of deep thinkers, empaths, and INFJs who see the world differently. And tell me in the comments, have you ever reached the point where you stopped explaining your pain and just went quiet? Their responses become shorter, calm, polite, but emotionally empty. When an INFJ starts slipping away, it doesn't happen with anger, it happens with quiet politeness. The warmth in their words begins to fade. The deep, emotionally rich responses that once made you feel seen now become simple, measured replies. I'm fine, it's okay, don't worry about it. You might think they're just tired, distracted, or busy, but the truth is, they've already started detaching. The INFJ isn't being cold, they're conserving energy. Because every time they tried to express their pain before, it was dismissed, misunderstood, or turned against them. So now they've learned to protect themselves through silence disguised as calm. They no longer open up the way they used to. They don't ask as many questions, don't dig as deeply into your thoughts, don't react the same way when you pull away. Their empathy, once overflowing, now moves behind a wall. And that wall isn't made of resentment, it's made of self-respect. They're done bleeding emotionally for someone who doesn't notice the quiet ways they've been hurting. Their conversations become practical, surface level, and detached. You'll hear their voice, but not feel their soul in it anymore. The INFJ's emotional withdrawal is subtle but powerful. They don't announce it. They don't seek revenge. They simply stop trying to connect where connection no longer feels safe. They'll still show up when needed, still smile when spoken to, but there's a distance in their eyes. The kind that says, I've accepted this for what it is. That's the first stage of their goodbye, the invisible one, where they stop hoping things will change. People often mistake this calm for peace, but it's not, it's numbness. The final shield before departure. The INFJ has already cried, already reasoned, already fought internally to stay. But when they start speaking less, feeling less, and giving less, it's not indifference, it's self-preservation. By the time you notice how empty their words sound, it's already too late. The INFJ doesn't repeat themselves, they retreat. And when they do, it's quiet, graceful, and irreversible. Their silence isn't the absence of love, it's the echo of everything they gave that was never truly received. They stop trying to explain their feelings because they know you won't listen. For the INFJ, communication has never been about noise, it's about meaning. They don't speak to be heard, they speak to be understood. And for a long time, they tried, carefully choosing their words, softening their tone, explaining their emotions in ways that wouldn't overwhelm anyone. But every time they opened up, they were met with defensiveness, dismissal, or silence. After enough failed attempts, something inside them breaks. Not dramatically, but quietly. They stop trying to make you understand because deep down, they finally accept that you never truly wanted to. At first, it's subtle. They'll pause before speaking, then say, never mind. They'll start keeping things to themselves, not because they've stopped feeling, but because they've stopped believing their feelings matter to you. The INFJ realizes that words are useless when spoken into deaf ears, and so they conserve them. They redirect that emotional energy inward, where it can't be twisted, ignored, or used against them. This silence doesn't mean they've stopped caring. It means they've stopped hoping that you'll see what they're too tired to explain, hoping that you'll read the pain in their eyes when they can't bring themselves to say it out loud anymore. You'll still see them smile, still hear their calm tone, but underneath that stillness is exhaustion, the kind that comes from carrying the weight of one-sided understanding for too long. When the INFJ stops explaining, it's not a passive act, it's a decision, one born from clarity, not bitterness. They've realized that real communication doesn't require convincing, it requires compassion. And when compassion runs out, there's nothing left to say. People often mistake their quiet for emotional distance, but in reality, it's protection. They're not avoiding you, they're avoiding the cycle, because every attempt to make you understand only reopens the same wound. So they stop talking, not out of pride, but out of peace. By the time you notice, it's already over. The INFJ silence isn't a wall, it's an exit. And once they've chosen to stop explaining their heart, it's not because they've stopped feeling. It's because they've finally accepted that you'll never feel it the same way they do. They begin to detach mentally before they ever walk away physically. When an INFJ starts to let go, it doesn't begin with distance you can see. It begins in their mind. Long before they stop calling, before they stop showing up, they've already started leaving in silence. They'll still smile, still nod, still appear present, but mentally, they're elsewhere. They replay old conversations, study small patterns, and connect invisible dots that others ignore. It's not paranoia, it's clarity. And they begin to understand that the connection they've been fighting for no longer feels mutual. And that realization doesn't bring anger, it brings numbness. You'll notice it in small ways first. They stop planning ahead with you. Their questions become fewer, their curiosity fades. They stop offering emotional depth and begin responding with short, neutral sentences. It's not that they've stopped caring, it's that caring has become too painful. The INFJ knows they can't leave impulsively. Their conscience won't allow that, so they leave gradually, thought by thought, feeling by feeling, until there's nothing left to hold onto. In this stage, their empathy transforms into observation. They stop trying to fix, to heal, to understand, and instead start studying. They pay attention to what happens when they stop initiating, when they stop giving, when they stop softening every interaction. And what they see often confirms what they feared, that their absence doesn't change much. That realization is what seals their decision. People around them rarely notice the withdrawal because the INFJ doesn't announce it. They won't make a scene or seek attention. They'll continue to show up out of habit until the emotional connection completely dissolves. And once it does, their detachment becomes permanent. You can't talk them back into caring because they've already closed the door in their mind. This mental detachment is quiet but final. It's the INFJ's way of grieving in private before the physical goodbye. By the time they finally walk away, the emotional weight is gone, replaced by calm, closure, and quiet strength. That's why when they leave, they never look back, because they didn't leave in the moment you noticed, they left long before, in a silence you mistook for peace. Their empathy turns into observation, they start studying instead of saving you. There's a distinct shift that happens inside an INFJ when they've been hurt too many times. Their heart doesn't close, it transforms. The same empathy that once made them rush to help, to understand, to fix, becomes quiet and analytical. They stop absorbing your emotions like they're responsible for them and start watching instead. Their eyes become sharper, their presence calmer, their energy unreadable. It's not that they've stopped caring, it's that they've learned caring without boundaries becomes self-destruction. So now, instead of stepping into your storm, they observe it from a distance. They notice the way you speak when you think they're not listening, the excuses you give when caught in lies, the small shifts in tone that reveal what you're trying to hide. They don't call you out, they collect information. The INFJ's empathy, when redirected toward observation, becomes one of the most precise forms of emotional intelligence. They start to see patterns clearly, manipulation, avoidance, half-truths, and once they see them, they can't unsee them. This stage confuses people. The INFJ still seems kind, still polite, but something feels different, colder, more controlled. That's because they're no longer reacting emotionally, they're processing logically. They've stopped trying to rescue people from their own behavior and started learning from it instead. Every interaction becomes data, every conversation a study in human nature. And as they observe, they grow quieter, not out of detachment, but because understanding has replaced illusion. They no longer chase apologies or closure. They don't beg for honesty. They simply recognize when it's missing. And that awareness gives them a new kind of peace, a detached, powerful peace that says, I see you clearly now, and I don't need to explain why I'm done. By the time you notice, the INFJ has stopped trying to help. It's already too late. Their empathy has evolved from healing others to protecting themselves. They still feel deeply, they just choose where to invest it. Because once an INFJ learns that not everyone deserves to be saved, they stop playing the healer and start becoming the observer. And from that point on, nothing and no one can manipulate their heart the same way again. They no longer take things personally, they've emotionally checked out. There's a quiet shift that happens when an INFJ finally detaches, a kind of calm that's both peaceful and heartbreaking. The same things that used to hurt them, the same words that once kept them up at night suddenly stop affecting them. It's not because they don't care anymore, it's because they've reached emotional clarity. They've accepted that not everyone will meet them with the same sincerity they give, and instead of fighting it, they let go. What used to sting now only earns silence. What once made them explain now makes them smile faintly and say, it's fine. This is the INFJ's version of emotional armor. They stop personalizing people's moods, distance, or indifference. They stop overanalyzing every small shift in tone, every ignored message, every broken promise, because they finally understand that people's behavior says everything about them and nothing about the INFJ's worth. That realization frees them in a way nothing else can. They stop defending, stop overthinking, stop trying to fix relationships that were only surviving because of their effort. Their detachment doesn't come with bitterness, it comes with grace. They still wish others well, but from afar. They'll still help if asked, but they no longer chase closeness. They no longer bend over backward to be understood. They've made peace with being misunderstood because protecting their peace matters more than winning anyone's validation. To others, it looks like indifference, but to the INFJ, it's relief. It's the first breath of calm after months, sometimes years, of trying to keep something alive that was draining their soul. Their quietness is no longer about sadness, it's about strength. They've simply stopped giving energy to what doesn't give back. And when they reach this stage, they're almost untouchable. Words can't wound them the same way. Neglect doesn't shock them. Disrespect doesn't trigger them because they've already detached emotionally, even if they're still standing beside you physically. By the time you realize they've stopped taking things personally, they've already built a world of peace within themselves, one you can't enter anymore. Their presence feels colder, not from hate, but from exhaustion. When an INFJ reaches their emotional limit, something in their energy changes, not dramatically, but unmistakably. They used to radiate warmth, that quiet, grounding kind of energy that made people feel safe just by being near them. But now that warmth has dimmed. They still smile, still listen, still nod in the right places, but it's mechanical. The spark that once made their presence feel alive is gone. It's not hatred that causes it. It's fatigue, deep soul-level exhaustion from giving too much, caring too deeply, and being met with too little in return. You can sense it in the way they pause before replying, as if deciding whether the conversation is worth the energy. Their eyes still meet yours, but they don't linger. They used to make you feel seen, now they make you feel studied. They're not angry, they're empty. The emotional investment that once poured through every word and gesture has been carefully pulled back, because the INFJ has finally realized that being endlessly available comes with a cost, and they're done paying it. Their coldness isn't cruelty, it's conservation. They've learned that empathy without limits becomes a burden, and love without balance becomes depletion. So they retreat into stillness. They speak less, feel less, and give less. Not to punish anyone, but to survive. Their once vivid presence now feels distant, like a warm light seen through glass. You can see it, but you can't reach it anymore. People around them often misinterpret this shift. They'll say, "You've changed," or "You're being distant," not realizing they're witnessing the INFJ's healing, the quiet rebuilding of boundaries that should have existed all along. The INFJ doesn't explain it. They've tried that before. Now they simply let their distance speak. That cold calmness is their peace returning. They've stopped carrying everyone else's weight. They've stopped burning out to keep others warm. What remains is a version of them that no longer apologizes for needing rest, space, or silence. So when their presence feels colder, don't mistake it for hate. It's just the after effect of exhaustion. The moment an INFJ finally decides to stop setting themselves on fire just to light the way for others. They choose silence over confrontation. Peace matters more than closure. When an INFJ reaches the final stage of emotional detachment, they no longer argue, explain, or try to make others see their side. They've spent too many sleepless nights rehearsing the perfect words, trying to fix what was never theirs to fix. Now they've learned the hard truth. Closure doesn't come from conversations, it comes from acceptance. So instead of shouting to be understood, they go quiet. That silence isn't weakness, it's a declaration that their peace is worth more than being right. The INFJ's silence speaks volumes. It's not passive-aggressive, and it's not avoidance, it's wisdom. They've realized that people who truly value them wouldn't have pushed them to this point in the first place. So they stop trying to heal the misunderstanding. They stop trying to decode mixed signals. They stop chasing explanations that only reopen old wounds. Their silence becomes their boundary, a calm, invisible line that says, "I've said enough. I've given enough. I choose peace now." To outsiders, it might look like surrender, but in reality, it's transformation. The INFJ understands that not every storm deserves their voice. They've outgrown the need to defend their heart to people who never cared to understand it. So instead of wasting energy on confrontation, they channel it inward toward rebuilding, refocusing, and rebalancing. When they walk away without a dramatic ending, it confuses people. There's no explosion, no revenge, no parting speech, just stillness, a graceful disappearance that leaves echoes behind. Because deep down, they know explaining themselves to someone who's already made up their mind is a form of self-betrayal. Their silence, therefore, becomes sacred, a quiet exit that preserves their dignity. And in that silence, they find everything they were searching for: clarity, relief, freedom. The INFJ learns that peace isn't something you find after closure. Peace is the closure. It's the moment you stop needing others to understand your heart and start trusting yourself enough to walk away quietly. So when an INFJ goes silent, don't mistake it for indifference. It's not that they stop caring. It's that they finally started caring enough about themselves to stay silent and protect their calm. When they finally leave, it's not revenge, it's self-protection. An INFJ's departure is never impulsive. It's not loud, dramatic, or wrapped in anger. It's quiet, deliberate, and deeply thought out. Long before they physically walk away, they've already left emotionally. They've replayed every moment, every conversation, every ignored plea for understanding, and they've come to one final realization: staying would destroy their peace. So when they go, it's not to punish anyone, it's to protect the last pieces of themselves that haven't yet been drained. People rarely see it coming. To them, everything seems fine. The INFJ still smiles, still helps, still listens. But beneath that calm surface, a decision has been made. They've stopped hoping for change. They've stopped justifying mistreatment. They've stopped believing that love means endurance, because they finally understand that protecting their soul sometimes means breaking their own heart. When they leave, they don't slam doors, they simply stop showing up. The calls go unanswered, the energy once freely given disappears. Their absence feels sudden, but it isn't. It's the result of months, maybe years of silent endurance. Their goodbye is wordless because they've already said everything that needed to be said. In their patience, in their forgiveness, in the countless chances they offered. Leaving is their last act of self-respect. Those who took their empathy for granted will feel it the hardest because an INFJ's presence is not easily replaced. Their emotional depth, their quiet understanding, their ability to make others feel seen, it's rare. And once they're gone, the silence they leave behind is deafening. It's then that people realize their energy wasn't just comforting, it was healing. But for the INFJ, leaving isn't loss, it's liberation. They don't walk away to hurt anyone. They walk away to stop hurting themselves. They've learned that peace doesn't require permission, and self-protection isn't selfish. So they choose solitude over chaos, silence over conflict, and self-worth over attachment. And once they've left, they don't look back, not because they don't care, but because they've finally chosen themselves. Their exit isn't revenge, it's a quiet revolution of self-love. The moment they stop being someone's emotional anchor and start becoming their own. When an INFJ reaches the stage, there's no drama, just distance. No anger, just understanding. They don't leave to prove anything, they leave because their soul finally whispers, enough. And in that moment, they reclaim their peace, their clarity, and their power. If you've ever been the INFJ who gave too much, stayed too long, or loved too deeply, this is your reminder. Walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's sacred. Because once you stop explaining, once you stop chasing, and once you stop trying to fix what was never yours to fix, you become unstoppable. Before you go, make sure to subscribe to Brainy One, where we dive deep into the minds of INFJs, empaths, and old souls who see the world differently. And if you watched until the end, comment "Peace Chosen" below so I'll know you're one of the rare ones who value calm over chaos.